Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu tabletop role-playing game rules by Chaosium. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. While we try very hard to stick to language for all ages, listeners should know that this podcast may include mature themes. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., that may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your keeper. Thank you for joining us again in another episode of the Old Ways Podcast. I am your keeper, Keeper Michael, and we return to Horror on the Orient Express, where we have found some old-time religion again. More on that later. We're going to get to introductions, and so we will start to my right.
Hello, this is Mike, and I play James Robert Fraser, who is getting ready for a little bit of creeping round the caverns.
Indeed, spelunking seems to be on the menu for you this evening.
I beg your pardon, sir.
I'm sure you do. At the end of the table.
Hello, this is Giles, and I'm playing Simon Griffith, and I am slightly damaged.
Yeah, it seems you've been bit by the same bug that bites everyone that follows the professor around, long-term damage. And so you and him will have to hopefully sort that out at some point. Speaking of...
I'm Martin, and I'm playing Richard Courtney. Well, Richard's glad his friends are back.
Yeah, I know you managed to, in your eyes, save both of your friends, including being a rather studly hero for Maggie. And now you just have to figure out what it is this farmer wants in return. But speaking of, last but most certainly not least.
Hello, I'm Nate, and I'm playing Anton, the perfectly normal farmer. And I have got an almighty mess in my kitchen.
Yes, and also Simon. Kidding. But so we'll raise a curtain on a very dark grotto this evening, as Mr. Fraser has decided, after assembling some kit, that he is going to attempt to find out what happened to his compatriots. And so you are there at the mouth of this grotto, sir, and the whole place is dark.
Yes, well, I shall steel myself, make sure my flashlight is in good working order, and make my way slowly and carefully down through the grotto to see what I can see.
Well, the torch is going to give you the ability to pick up at least the next step. It's a fairly good torch. You've managed to keep it fresh with the reasonable batteries, and you scan these steps as you sort of begin to slowly work your way down. So the grotto, as mentioned before, has tons of rock features. There's sounds of dripping water here. There's definitely an odor here. There's not only smell the moist air, but also smell something perhaps a bit coppery on the air.
What smells like copper? Well, there's copper. And then there's not copper. Might start perhaps moving a little bit faster, but still carefully.
Sure. You notice in some of the gravel here, and perhaps a little bit of the mud that mixes with it, you see a depression there in the mud. A line. It's maybe, say, 3 or so inches wide.
Being something of a gardening enthusiast, I wonder would Mr. Fraser recognize or have an idea what might have made this particular track in the gravel and the mud?
Oh, I think so. I think that it would not be too terrible of a leap of logic for him to think, this sure looks like a wheelbarrow.
Well, perhaps doing a little bit of work down in the grotto, but if I follow this, then at least I'll be on fairly stable ground, I would imagine. He's kind of muttering to himself. Oh, James, what are you doing creeping down in the caves in the middle of the night? Oh, dear.
You creep down probably a good 30 or 40 meters until the slope begins to meet sort of its first plateau. And you do benefit from finding the walkway railing, so that is around here to sort of steady yourself on if you want to be near it. But you continue to get this sort of oppressive feeling that there's something you're not seeing here. And so I'd like you to give me a spot hidden roll. It is a hard roll, given the lighting available.
Absolutely, yes. Okay, so yes, he will kind of stop for a moment and shine his torch around slowly and peer into the gloom. And that is a 64, so that is not a hard spot hidden roll.
Mm-hmm.
However, if I'm feeling like maybe the torch isn't quite bright enough, maybe I've not got quite the right angle, I think I'll possibly try and have a look around and see if there's maybe a different angle that I could look from, which might involve scrambling over the rocks or something like that.
Yeah.
To see if there is anything that maybe my torch isn't quite reaching. And I will attempt to push this roll.
Will you now?
I will. I mean, it's insane, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Very well.
I've got a fairly good spot hidden. It's we shall see what we shall see. Well, I've just rolled an 88, which is a failure.
You scramble over these rocks, James, and as you do so, you lose your footing here a little bit, and you do the smartest thing you can do when you lose your footing, you having slipped very recently because of the Bora wind. You reach out and grab the guardrail. When you do, you grab the guardrail reflexively with the wrong hand, the hand that carries the torch.
Of course.
And that torch bumps up against the railing, slips from your hand, and then shatters to pieces. The lens does there on the stonework.
Damn it.
You are plunged into darkness.
Oh, well, matches again it is, I suppose, James. And I will root in my pocket and pull out my matches.
Certainly.
And shake it to see how many I've got.
You're probably 8 or 9 left there.
Note to self, bring 2 torches.
You strike a match.
And I will move quite quickly, I think, because I'm aware that these matches aren't going to last very long. And, I've probably got a fair bit of ground to cover. So I've given up on any idea of being able to see too far ahead of me now. So I will just keep moving, looking around just to see what I can see. Follow this track, follow the path down.
You follow the track down until it reaches the next slope, which is maybe another 30 or so meters. And when you do, you find it stopped. You see the 2 little points at the back end of those handles that stopped here. And you see a great amount of sort of debris that has been pushed around. And then not too far beyond that, as you're sort of just getting into the next match, really, you see that some of the stonework here has a tinge of blood on it, and then there's more.
Dear Lord. I would think at this point my match is probably burning down to my fingers, so I'll shake it out and strike another. And then try and look around this area to see. Professor! Miss Bellinger! Simon! Are you there?
They do not reply, but your match illuminates the rather ghastly broken skull of a man down here.
What the hell has happened here?
You see a bloody rock nearby.
I'll take a pulse.
Dead as a doornail. And that, not but a meter from here, is a red fez.
Who the hell are you? So I'm going to rifle through his pockets to see if there's any identification on him.
There is not, but you can tell that those pockets have been rifled before. Getting a look at his face just for one moment here on the side, you see, is this the man you chase through the streets?
That's what I was going to say. Do I recognize him?
It is. This is him.
Good Lord. Followed us all this way. right. All right, James. What's happened here? And I will kind of look around the area, just trying to kind of visualize exactly what's happened. He's had his head caved in. Is he carrying a weapon of any kind?
I don't believe the professor took his revolver. So you do find...
Right. I shall sniff it to see if I can smell cordite and see how many bullets are in it.
Absolutely. You get the cordite smell, and you also find that each of the 6 rounds in the revolver have been spent.
Dear Lord. So I am going to position myself where he is and kind of look around the area as best I can, and then try and triangulate what direction I think he might have shot in, and then go over to that area and kind of look around there to see if I can find any bullets lodged in the stone or anything like that, or if there's any blood or anything like that, or another body.
Yeah, so there's no rocks for the bullets to have lodged in, but you do find blood spray patterns and one small sort of dinner plate sized blood pool, and then there is another that is twice as large nearby.
Oh my god.
And then you see strips of clothing and disturbed earth here.
What kind of clothing is it that I see?
If memory serves correctly, it's part of someone's shirt.
And it's got blood on it, has it, presumably?
Yeah.
Or maybe a few drops of blood.
It looks like it was maybe used as a tourniquet.
Right, so he's shot. They're not here. They must have survived, unless there's another one of them. And I'm going to move a little bit further down the path and see, because I know there was this track, see if the track carries on, see if there's maybe if somebody was shot or injured and bleeding quite badly, they probably left a blood trail. So if they've gone on any further, it would head that way. And I don't recall seeing any blood on the way down either. So
you don't. So you go and you follow this sort of thinking, and you realize that you follow it maybe a couple of meters to the other half or the other side of this walkway. And that's when you see a blood trail going back up. And you pick up the wheelbarrow line again, and there's blood coming just right out of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously I the player, know what's happened here. But just looking at the way the tracks are and if there's gravel on the ground, the way it's been kind of dragged around, is it clear to me that there have been bodies dragged about here and maybe dragged up onto a wheelbarrow? Too much of a jump of...
No, I don't think it's too much of a jump given Fraser's experience in the war, especially in some very difficult battles where that sort of carrying people or carting people would have been done, especially victims or injured soldiers. I think it's reasonable for him to say someone was carted out of here, likely in a wheelbarrow. Where they went afterwards is up in the air, but...
Right, okay, so putting 2 and 2 together and making 5, I'm going to pick up anything that might be considered evidence in this area, because at some point the tourists are going to come down here. They're going to see a dead body.
Yep.
So either I take the dead body with me, or I don't know if I've seen anywhere that I could deposit a dead body where it wouldn't be found.
Yeah, actually, when you start to think about it, you realize that this sort of walking path that goes down here, further in, as you sort of explore or be in that general area, you realize that there are some of these massive stone pieces that you could sort of tuck someone back behind, and maybe then on first or second glance down through this hallway, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. The bigger problem, though, is all of the blood on the stones.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, someone's going to walk in here and realize, oh, wow, what happened?
Right. Well,
and body or not.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not going to be able to actually get rid of the body. I'm going to just be able to hide it for a short time at best.
Right.
So I think what I'll do is I will gather up the revolver. In fact, no, actually, I don't think I will gather up the revolver. I will put the revolver in his hand, wipe it of any of my fingerprints. In fact, is it pushing my luck to say that Mr. Fraser would have a pair of gloves? I mean, it is quite cold and he's got a heavy coat.
No,
I didn't specifically mention that I was going to wear gloves.
I don't think that's pushing it at all. If nothing else, you might have gloves in your pocket based off of a multitude of reasons.
So yeah, so I'll put on my gloves. I will put the revolver into the man's hand. I will pick up anything that I think might be related to our party, with probably the last match and the dying embers of the last match as it burns down into my thumb and finger. And I will make my way with best speed back up the pathway, back up to the outside, following this trail of blood. As well, I won't be able to follow it very far, but in the darkness,
Right.
using the handrail, I will make my way back the way I came, just remembering and reversing the path that I took in my head.
Sure, you're a little turned around, so...
But I've got a very good memory.
And not only that, you have a handrail too, so it would be impossible at this point for you to get lost, so we won't require any roll for you to get lost. I would say that probably would have the option to let the last match, burn the book itself to give you some added flammability. At least, if nothing else, you would have a little bit more, something that you could hold on to and burn and walk. But
okay, yeah, that works for me. In fact, I wonder if I've got anything else in my pocket. Well, let's just do that then. I want to find my torch as well. If it's not clattered down to somewhere completely beyond my reach, I want to retrieve that.
It hasn't. What you've broken is the bulb and the lens. Those are replaceable.
It's more for the fact that it's probably got my fingerprints on it.
Yeah.
I wasn't wearing my gloves at the time, and also just it's another little bit of something for the police to look at when they inevitably come and investigate what's happened here.
Yes.
So the idea is that I'm leaving an unnamed man with no identification, holding a revolver that has all the bullets spent from it, pools of blood on the other side of this particular bit of cave, and that's going to be at least a puzzle for the police to figure out for a period of time, assuming that the people he's shot aren't currently in a hospital.
Yep, absolutely. So I think when you start to think about police, the first word that comes to your mind is black shirts.
Yeah.
And that is a very disturbing word, given that you're still in Italy.
Do I know what the black shirts and Mussolini's kind of indoctrination, for want of a better word, what the opinion they would have of somebody who is from that area of the world?
I mean, they're not very, very big on foreigners, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They might not really care.
Yeah, they're fascists, so
yeah,
it's unlikely that they're going to care about this person. They would probably be more concerned about
who they might have shot.
Well, yeah, the idea that there's lawlessness going on. And that the populace could be affected by it.
Okay.
Or the vision of Mussolini's perfect state being cracked by a strange murder.
So they might just cover it up. They might just kind of downplay it. They probably won't investigate his death particularly hard because, who cares?
Right.
So with that positive spin on things in his head, Fraser's going to head back up to the outside world. How dark is it when he reaches when he manages, assuming I do manage to make it back out in one piece?
You do make it out in one piece. You get to the mouth of the grotto and it is now dark. And the Bora is beginning to howl up. And so you're tucking the coat around you to try to stay warm. The taxi driver is gone.
typical. Look at my watch to see how long I was down there.
Probably 20 minutes or so.
Oh well. I would have expected as much. Never mind. He's lost a good tip for taking us home in one piece. Assuming I can find where the others are. And I shall start plodding around, kind of looking to see if I see any sign of any, more of these wheelbarrow marks. If there's maybe earth and a bit of grass or something, there might be a bit of an impression in the dark.
You take a look around, and I'll just give you a relatively simple spot hidden roll.
Okie dokie. A relatively simple spot.
Relatively, it's just a simple spot hidden roll. That's all.
Now this is when I get an extreme success. That's a 10.
Looking to your left, you realize about 100 yards or so, give or take, to your left, there is a farmhouse with a light on. And what encourages you is outside the door there, in just the single light that sort of cascades down from the spot above one of these doors, there is a symbol of man's best friend sitting outside the door, sort of waiting, staring out into the wild.
Right. Well, that's as good a place to start as any, I suppose. Here we go. And I will trudge across the grass and up the path towards the house.
It has been probably just a few minutes now since, Simon, since you have sort of arrested back to life. Everything on your body hurts. You are covered in grass and maybe mud. There's a molasses smell to your body now. And your leg hurts pretty awful bad. And now your mouth is stinging with the taste of some sort of alcohol.
Do you mind if I make an occult roll to see if I recognize what's on my body, since this might be similar to what happens in the Appalachians?
Not at all. Go right ahead. Make an occult roll.
Well, that's a 74. That would be a no.
So you're not necessarily sure the reasoning behind it, but you've been covered with something that you're not certain what the hell it is. And it's sticky, and it's sort of sticking into these larger holes in your chest. You suddenly remember, as you're staring down at these, whatever's on your clothes and on your chest, you sort of now begin to get the vision, the after image of the man in the cavern and the gunshots. They sort of echo now through your memory.
I will try and slowly sit up.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, bodily speaking, you feel fairly terrible, but you do have the strength to prop yourself up if that's what you want.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to try and walk at this point. Simon will try and sit up so he can assess the situation. Simon's also not going to go ahead and clear any of this out because apparently they're preventing the blood, at least, from gushing out, if nothing else.
Yeah, that's terribly possible. But you get yourself on this kitchen table, this rather stout kitchen table. You get yourself propped up against the wall, and you see a lot of trappings from houses that you might have seen in Appalachia, in the sense that there's something on the stove. Looks like it's at a kind of a constant rolling simmer. There's an awful lot of herbs here and an awful lot of real basic ways of living.
Simon doesn't feel out of place here. And in fact, this is probably not the first time a body's been thrown on the kitchen table to be operated on that he's seen or been part of, but not in Europe, that's for sure.
Right.
Jim? Lady E? Professor?
Yes. Simon? Are you coming round?
What did you do?
You were shot.
I was carrying you, right?
No, we put you in a wheelbarrow to bring you here. Do you remember the man with the fez? He had a gun.
I think I was carrying you. And the man with the fez wanted to kill you, right?
Richard remembers the photograph at this point, which he's up to now forgotten. Yes, I think he was after me. I managed to disable him though.
Well, that's good. I don't remember much. I just remember blacking out.
I know, you were shot. He shot you. You were shot several times. It was awful. I had to go and fetch a doctor. This man here. Sorry, what is your name? He looks towards Anton.
Richard, we met. Anton.
Anton, I don't believe you told me your name.
I knew yours. I'm sure you told me yours.
Right. Well, yes, I'm sure I did. Well, and there we have it, Simon. You were shot. I went to find help, and this nice gentleman here was able to come down to the grotto, and he retrieved yourself and Maggie, and here we are.
Simon, you died, but you met the mother and come back, and now you're much better. But you might lose leg. You need to get more care for that. But yeah, you died and you come back now better. Good. You're much good.
Thank you, sir. Professor?
You seem stunned. Are you okay, Simon? Are you hungry? I get stew, maybe? You don't want grappa, I understand. So
I do not drink.
just water, yeah. Good stew, poultice.
I drink milk. I would also drink juice, coffee, tea. Some stew would be fantastic, sir. I appreciate the offer.
Anton will grab a bowl and serve Simon at the table. Careful, it's good, and get strength back. Richard, we have business to complete.
Simon is awake, and Maggie is looking better. What more is there for us to do?
Well, Richard, I granted your wish. So, Richard, do you drink, or you like Simon no drink?
Occasionally. Normally
Excellent.
a nice cider, or occasionally a glass of wine.
Yeah, we should finish business properly with good drink. And Anton will pour a couple tiny little shots of grappa. That's the white liquid that he had poured out. And gesturing up, maybe I talk to you while Simon is eating stew and getting not to disrupt him.
Yes, of course.
And then I'll walk out with the 2 glasses and hand one back to Richard.
Yes, thank you. Wow. Yes, that's. It smells a little strong.
No, that's intentional. Richard, we make good team. And you not scream as much as others when they first meet the mother. I'm impressed with you.
Well, we have seen quite some sights on our travels. Lots of. I was going to call them interesting things, but lots of things.
I see in your eyes, it's the haunting. Yes. Well, to your tourism health.
Yes. Cheers. And Richard will do the same and probably cough quite a bit. Yes. Wow.
Pats you on the back.
The burning.
No, as I said, I have done what you demanded of me. I brought your friends back, so now we've complete exchange.
Yes. How much do I owe you?
Well, of course I like to help, but I have used up many expensive things that I can't replace easily.
I have money in the hotel.
And I hear I hear British or English, so pounds sterling?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. 100 pounds sterling, 100 pounds sterling for each, so 200 total pounds sterling.
Well, that is a little steep, but yes, I mean, for Maggie and Simon, I think that's perfectly reasonable. We paid £500 for somebody before, and anyway, yes, I think that's perfectly reasonable.
I meant 200 pounds sterling each, so 400 pounds sterling, and then it's 100 less than it sounds like you pay. It's a deal, a bargain.
Actually, Anton, it sounds like when he said we paid £500 for someone, you assume that this means that Richard has perhaps a personal assistant, or perhaps he's purchased people. So, and this is not something that's completely ununderstandable for you, but you're a little concerned now that you don't know everything you need to know about him.
Prima, dog, quiet.
Yeah, and for your part, Mr. Fraser, as you're working your way across this sort of open grass field, this dog, very pleasant, happy dog, makes his way towards you. It's a mutt, but decent mid-sized dog who barks and makes quite a ruckus.
Hello there, boy. Hello. That's all right. I don't mean any harm. I don't have any biscuits for you, I'm afraid. Just trying to size up this dog to see if it's a family pet or a guard dog, or... I mean, it's obviously making a racket, which is a good thing, but it doesn't look like he's growling and is about to go for me or anything.
This is definitely more on the family pet side than guard dog side, although, either one, barking is probably where it would start. So, but as you get closer, it doesn't make any sort of aggressive moves. It seems a little playful.
Okay, well, I'll kind of walk slowly with my hands out, just in my head down a little bit, just kind of not making any aggressive moves. And as I get a little bit closer, I'll kind of go down on my knee and onto one knee and beckon towards the dog to see if it wants to come and say hello.
Oh, absolutely. Right away.
And I'll scratch it behind the ear and stroke its head and say, hello, you're a good lad. You're a good lad. Do you have a wee name on you here? No.
Mm-mm. There are some lights on here in the house, too.
All right. Hey, you're guarding the house well.
Prima, dog, quiet.
No, boy. Would you mind if I took a wee trip up the path there to the door? Would you mind about that? Hey, boy, hey. And I'll just kind of slowly get to my feet and start walking towards the front door.
You approach what you believe is the front door.
And I shall gently knock on it.
Anton,
you hear mid-sentence, you hear someone knock on the door.
Richard, I have to admit, if this is another tourist, I will be beside myself. Just a second. I'll see. Walk around the outside of the house and see what I see.
Yeah, you creep around the side of the house a little bit and you sort of look left and around the corner. Yep, there's a tall gentleman standing outside your side door. The dog seems to be attempting to entertain him. He's wearing a rather full coat, which would befit the area given the borough winds here.
Would I see him peeking around the corner?
So I suppose it would be, if you're trying to be stealthy, Anton, it would be stealthy.
Not really being stealthy, no.
So I would say, given Mr. Fraser's spot hidden, you'd probably pick up that there's someone near to your right.
Right, so I suppose I have to, tap on the door and wait a moment or two, maybe take a step or two back, just to kind of look at the house. And as I'm looking around, I'll probably spot a head poking around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Buongiorno.
I shake my head. No.
Do you parlo inglese? Do you speak English?
In Russian, Elsa. Do you speak Russian?
I am from Scotland. Fraser.
Oh, I speak English. I was just hoping you spoke Russian. It'd be nice to speak
Russian. Oh, I didn't realize that was the tongue.
Fima, leave the gentleman alone. Leave the.
Oh no, he's quite all right. Aren't you, boy? You're a good lad.
How can I help?
Yes. Well, I was wondering if you could assist me. As a matter of fact, I had some companions of mine were taking the tour of the caves earlier on today, but I'm a little concerned about them. I have to admit, they've not yet returned to our hotel, and I was just wondering if you happen to have seen anybody in the vicinity, wandering about, perhaps looking a little lost.
No, nothing. Not at all.
Could I make a psychology roll?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I desperately want to look back towards... I want to look back towards Richard, but I won't.
Sure.
Ooh, that's a 19.
Ooh, so I suppose
that's a hard success.
I suppose if you're really trying to be if you're trying to play subterfuge here, I'd imagine you're trying to persuade this gentleman that you really don't know anybody.
I'm coming from the angle that these folks just got attacked in the grotto, and here's someone coming for them. So,
right. I think,
but my fast talk is 5, so I'll persuade.
Yeah, I think I would allow persuade here.
45. Okay. Well, that is a 70.
Yeah, you don't know what it is, Mr. Fraser.
Maybe it's the blood all over his apron.
It could be. It could be these
it's been a busy 20 minutes. Yeah,
dirty, sort of ink-stained fingers in the darkness here that he sort of talks to you with. He's not telling you the full story.
Okay, so I think at this point my hand goes into my coat pocket, where my revolver is, and I don't withdraw it, but I place my hand on the handle of the gun just in case, just to be ready. I would say, take a wee half step towards him, and say, "Are you quite sure, sir?"
I immediately dash. I run, and I'm shouting, "Richard! Richard, they found you! Richard, run!" And I'm running towards the back. "Richard, they're here! They found you!"
This is what you hear, Richard. What are you doing?
Richard bolts in towards the house and tries to pick up Maggie.
She's asleep when you get in. You're a little concerned about waking her, especially with all of the wounds that she's had.
So Richard decides that he's going to play the hero, and rather than draw attention to the people inside the house, so he's going to run in the door that he came in and run out of the other door in a noisy fashion, and go, quick, run, Anton.
Okay. So I don't know. I guess I'd like to gauge Mr. Fraser's reaction, because I think what I'm seeing in my head could play out, which is Anton runs back, Richard runs in, he runs back out the side door, and then sort of on Mr. Fraser's left, he sees Richard bolt out of the house.
Yeah, I think Fraser will take a moment to think, is it too much of a coincidence to think there's 2 Richards? One Dick is quite enough.
Indeed, sir. Indeed.
And I think he will just heave a sigh and stride purposefully after this man. I'll take my hand off the revolver and think, well, if it's another Richard that happens to be involved in a fracas with our Richard, then, well, God help me, the world's gone mad.
It has. You sort of step forward towards this farmer that you'd run into, and there's a clatter there somewhere behind you of this farmhouse outside. You hear the door open, but if you're continuing forward in your pursuit, or at least maybe pursuit's a bit of an aggressive word, but if you're moving forward, then if Anton is going back into the house.
Going back into the house to grab my farmhouse rifle.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to stand guard in the kitchen over his patient.
Okay, yeah. So, Simon, you would see your back still up against the wall, trying to come to a little bit. Richard runs back into the house and then back out the side door. So you see him saying, run. And then Anton comes in moments later into the kitchen, and he has what looks like some sort of rifle with him. And he is trying to take up a position near the section of the house that goes from the living room to the kitchen where you're sitting at.
Anton, do you have a closet around here that I could hide in?
Worried about moving, you friend.
I understand, but since Richard's already ran away like he normally does,
Yes.
I can't do much, and my pistol is gone, so
Yes.
I think I would be more of a hindrance elsewhere.
Yes. We must go towards the front of the house, yes, but I can help if you would like.
If you would, please. Yes.
Yes. Come.
Let's not lose sight of what Mr. Fraser is doing. You get back to the front of the house, sir. Where are you continuing the pursuit inside the house?
Right. Does it become apparent to me that the door I was knocking on was the side door, not the front door?
It does become now apparent to you.
All right. Okay, so I walked around. Is the front door lying open, or did he close it after him when he went in?
I didn't hear him say that he was going to close the door, so I'm happy to do 50-50, high or low. So I'll roll that. Anton, what do you prefer, high or low?
High.
All right. That is a 51, so yes, the door is closed.
If that's what, if that was your choice. No, that's fine. That's actually better, because obviously, Fraser's going to be thinking, right, he thinks I'm here to cause this Richard, if it is our Richard, some harm. Right, okay, yes, I can kind of understand that. All right, well, I need to be on my guard a wee bit here. So I'll go up and I'll stand. How thick is this front door? How heavy is it?
I'd say it's slightly thicker than average.
Okay, right. So he's probably not going to shoot me through it then, if he's
Probably
got a
not,
gun.
no.
So I'll just go and I'll knock on the door. I'll say, "Excuse me, sir, Mr. Russian gentleman, sir. I think there's been a slight misunderstanding."
So before you respond, Anton, Richard, give me a hard listen roll as you're leaving the home and the associated property. You're not moving very fast at your hit point level, so I'm going to give you a listen roll, see if maybe you can hear that.
Right, so... No, not with a 97.
Nope. Okay, carry on.
Hello. My name is,
There's
as I said,
no
is
trouble.
Fraser. No, I'm not here to cause any trouble. The man you're calling for, Richard, is he an English gentleman, a rather weedy fellow?
Yes. Richard, he's English. He's hero. He carried the girl.
Is he now a hero? Is he? Oh,
He's
well.
yes. He helped with the ritual. He's partner in this. Who are you?
Perhaps he's not the fellow I was thinking of then. My name, as I said, my name is Fraser. My friends were down in the cavern. One is Simon. The other is also a fellow by the name of Richard, and a young young American lady by the name of Margaret or Maggie. If you have seen them by any chance, I'm a bit worried that they might be hurt. I don't mean any harm, sir. I don't mean any harm to you or your family or to them. I seek only to assist. I quite assure you, sir. I have a firearm here, sir. I am more than happy to lay it on the ground and step away from it if that will convince you that I mean no harm.
Simon, do you recognize this person? Do you hear this, Simon?
Listen roll, or is this clear enough?
I think that if you're in the kitchen, you're probably clear enough to pick out maybe not every word, but enough of the tone that Fraser talks with that you'd probably be willing to bet that that's him.
Anton, that's probably my associate, Jim. He's with us. He may have come looking for us after we did not come back from the caves.
Jim, tell me something about Simon that a friend would know.
Something about, oh, my goodness me. Oh, now you've put me on the spot. Let me think now. Oh, God help me. He sometimes calls me Jimbo.
Jimbo, very disrespectful. Simon, is that true?
That's him. Good old Jimborino.
Come in, Jimborino.
Oh, God me. And I will open the door, Simon, are you in there? Is that you?
You first catch the scent of something burning. And then herbs, and your eyes sort of walk their way a little bit around the front room here, and you see Maggie curled up on the couch here, and she has a massive wound that has been bound in her, covered up here on her chest.
I'll immediately kind of rush over to her. Miss Bellinger, are you...
She's not conscious.
Feel for a pulse, and I'll kind of look around the room as well. What's happened? What's happened here?
Setting the rifle aside as I come in.
You begin to see the rifle as it sort of walks its way eventually, and is handled by a gentleman in his 40s.
And he's the only other person in the room other than
that you can see, yeah.
Sir, what has happened here? What? Have you? Is it you? Have you bound this young lady? Have you tended to her wounds?
I saved both. I saved the woman, and I saved Simon, who is in the kitchen. His leg might come off, but he lives for now. Richard, not sure where, but your friends almost all die in the grotto.
Dear Lord, thank God. God bless you, sir. God bless you. And I'll kind of reach out my hand to shake your hand.
Look at it, and I'll shake it.
A firm handshake, and he puts his other hand on top.
Yes, Richard pay the 400 pounds sterling. So,
Hi,
Richard,
well, yes, of course. Yes, I mean, you certainly deserve payment for the help you've given her. Where is Simon? Can you show me to him?
Of course, come. Would you like stew? And Anton will lead you back into the kitchen.
Well, that's uncommonly kind of you, sir.
He leads you into this kitchen, Mr. Fraser, and there is Simon, awash in strange, muddied symbols on his body. 2 massive holes that have been sort of plugged, it seems, with poultices and herbs. There is herbs hang from the ceiling in here, including probably some bones in a few places. There's an enormous cauldron at one end where this stew is boiling, and you have no idea what's happened here, but Simon is sitting upright, conscious, and he sees you walk into the room, and you can sort of see he's awash with just he's peaked. He's got flushed skin in certain places, and then other places he's drained. Perhaps you've seen soldiers in this sort of method from blood loss. And you think maybe that whatever happened to him in the grotto, maybe he was that big stain on the ground.
And I think he will stand there for a moment, just kind of rooted to the spot, take in all this strangeness around him. But when he kind of sees Simon and sees the state Simon's in, he just rushes towards him and hugs him. Not too firmly, but, firmly but gently. Just this relief, this utter relief, and fear and worry and all these different emotions going through him. The state of him, that all these wounds on him, but the fact that he's sitting up and he's, Simon, thank God. I was so much blood there. I feared the worst.
Simon is hugging Jim back and one arm, and there are some tears in his eyes, even though he's not sobbing. Jim, it was bad. They're after the professor.
We need to get you back to the hotel.
That's all I can remember. They came after him. They offered. I think they offered to let us go. All I know is I was trying to run out with the professor. There was 3 of them, I think. But we only faced one at the end.
3.
There's more running around.
Aye, I saw him.
This is not safe here. We cannot split up. And
No.
Miss Maggie and I... Miss Maggie was shot.
Aye, I saw her in the other room. This good gentleman's clearly tended to her. But where is Richard?
The professor almost killed us all.
That's a great question, Professor. Where are you running to? You're running in the dark now. Likely being chased by a dog just because you're running and it doesn't know what's going on, as dogs are wont to do.
Richard's just running, really.
All right.
I mean, I guess at some point he'll probably look around to see whether the person that he thinks is chasing him has caught up with him.
Nope. But you are deep into a field now, sir, and the house is fairly far behind you. And it's kind of a muddy field, really. Pants are now completely just destroyed. The trousers, these will need to be mended and cleaned if they can be saved.
Oh, no. So Richard is going to look for a little hedgerow, and he's going to duck down behind it and look. Just wait a few minutes to see whether somebody's going to catch up with him.
You duck down below this hedgerow, and within about 15 to 20 seconds, you are sort of tackled by a dog who takes every opportunity, now that you've lowered your center of gravity, to bowl you over and lick you. And you're just not prepared for it at all. So I would like you to entertain me with a dex roll, if you would, please, sir. And the dog will use fighting brawl, essentially, which is what the dog would do. And it'll be at advantage. Because it's roll. So it's got a 13.
Richard rolled a 99.
Very good. So you get flattened in this muddy field behind this hedge as this dog finally gets someone its size to pay attention. And it's unfortunate, too, because the dog is very excited. And that's really when you get that first telegraph idea that the dog is a male. This is not how you were expecting this part of the journey to go.
Leave me. Get off. Go and chase a stick or something.
The dog backs up and then barks.
Yes, good dog. Richard will take a look around to see if he can see anybody.
No, you don't see anybody. Now, the dog does eventually scamper off. He goes back towards the house.
Richard will follow it at a sensible pace, being very careful in case this assailant is hiding somewhere waiting to get him.
You don't seem to see anyone else rushing after you. The dog makes its way back to the house and then scratches on the door outside.
I wonder if they got the people inside and they weren't fooled by my distractions, thinks Richard. So he's going to sort of gingerly approach the door and listen at the door, see if he can hear any screaming or...
You don't hear any screaming, you hear multiple voices talking. Anton, Fema barks a couple of times, and probably time for Fema to come in.
Go to the door, throw it open. Fema! Good dog.
And Richard.
Do I see Richard?
Oh, yeah.
Richard! Oh, good news. Jimbo Rina here, and it's all love. It's all love. Simon and Jimbo Rina, it's all good. Come in, have stew.
You mean Mr. Fraser?
Didn't hear that. No, just heard Jimbo.
Yes.
It's hard to say. Just heard his full name, his real name.
told you twice what my name was, Fraser.
That's such a relief. I thought there was another Turkish gentleman after us. You know, the ones with the red hats we saw.
That's what I was worried. That's why I called.
Yes, quite.
For warning. Better caution after everything that happened.
Yes, indeed. I'm not sure I could take another one in the same evening.
No, you could not. All of you would probably die immediately from it, and I would not be able to help this time.
Right. We should catch up, I think. Richard sort of moves gingerly towards the door.
Okay.
Yeah, come in.
Do you have any tea?
Grappa and water. I also have goat. If you want warm milk, I can get fresh warm milk. But that's those. I do not live in luxury here, as you could see.
Oh, I'm sure grappa will be fine, thank you.
Actually, tea. Now that I can make you. I can make not English tea, but I can make you tea. Also, now that I think about it, of course. Clap my hands
Perfect.
together, and I start pulling some random herbs and dried flowers off the walls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there the three of you are with this farmer, and all of you in different sorts of, state, dress. It looks like it's been one hell of a day.
Ah, Richard, there you are. Where have you been?
Well, we were... Maggie took us for a visit to the caves, and we ended up on a...
No, I meant just now.
Oh, right. Yes, when Anton here said he thought somebody was coming, I assumed it was another Turkish gentleman with a fez. So I ran away. The others were not able to defend themselves. I was hoping to sort of draw their attention.
Ah, I see. Oh, well, very good. Good man.
It turns out I've just got a bit more muddy than I was before. I suppose it hides the blood a little.
Yes, it does, aye. And Fraser will just sort of pat him on the shoulder in a somewhat condescending way. And tell me, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name, sir.
Anton, of course.
Anton.
I am a farmer.
But you're not from here, though, I take it.
No.
Russian.
I'm visiting. While I must not be at my real home.
Oh, I see.
That's complicated. I needed a break, I think would be correct.
When I look at him, look at his hands, look at his bearing, look at his physique, do I see a farmer? Do I see a man who works out in the fields, or do I see someone who has what you might call blue blood? Someone who has that indefinable air of authority that the upper classes from all over the world have.
I think that's a psychology role.
I'm thinking Fraser would, he works with these people. He knows them.
Yeah.
So let me just see psychology. Ah, no, that is a fail. That's a 94.
Yeah.
Does he have rough workman-like hands, or does he have kind of more smooth hands of somebody who has other people do the hard work for them?
Yeah, I would probably say the latter is more closer to the former. He's probably someone that is not necessarily unknown to hard work, but you don't think that is his primary role in life, which sort of kind of tips the scales in different directions. His hands are what we would call dirty. Obviously, he's been in all sorts of things today. As far as his, sort of how he holds himself and that sort of thing, he does hold himself and speak in more of a learned manner than a common farmer. So you're probably going to wrinkle your nose at the idea that he might just be a farmer. That's a bridge too far for you.
No, I think bearing in mind the events over the last 10 years in Russia, less than 10 years, I think Fraser sort of puts two and two together in that regard. But he doesn't really say anything about it because, that's this man's business. What he is kind of interested in is these strange markings on Simon, all the different herbs and things that are about. Does there look like there's anything particularly unusual here? I mean, he'll spot the more kind of common things, rosemary and thyme and marjoram, that sort of stuff, and maybe sort of local herbs of the area. oregano or oregano, depending on how you pronounce it. That kind of thing. But is there anything that's a bit, because it is a bit strange, this place. This is.
Yeah, I would say that there are probably flower petals here that you are not familiar with.
I mean, I can make a botany roll if you like.
Go right ahead.
That is a 60 decimal success. I'll maybe recognize that I don't recognize some of them. That's about it.
Yeah, so I guess one of the things is not so hard for you to ascertain, but is sort of a giveaway, and that is chamomile.
Okay.
There's an awful lot of it here that's been dried, and it is a flower that is very much native to Russia.
Mm-hmm. And I presume he's making a cup of tea out of it even as we speak.
As I sat down, a couple steaming hot cups in front of, Martin, James, or Richard and James.
Very kind of you, very kind of you. I don't suppose you happen to have anything a little stronger, do you? I've had a somewhat trying day.
Absolutely. Finally. And here comes the mason jar. White liquid inside. I pour out a finger and
is this
pour
vodka?
myself one as well. No, grappa. Vodka's not as easy here for me to get. Suspicious. So, grappa.
I see. Well, when in Rome, as they say.
To your health.
Sanjo. Knock back the grappa.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's.
Oh, that'll put hairs on your chest, eh?
It sort of feels a little good, though. It's nice to have a fortifying drink here at night. Sadly, too bad that your compatriots probably shouldn't have any.
I don't suppose you know where the nearest telephone is, do you? I'm assuming you don't have one here in the house yourself.
No. In town, of course, but not here.
Well, I had a taxi cab who was supposed to be waiting for me, but he seems to have taken the money and run, as they say. If you would be so kind as to watch over our two companions here, who are still somewhat worse for wear. Richard, do you feel up to taking a little walk down to town with me to see if we can procure a lift back to the hotel?
Yes, should one of us stay with Simon and Maggie?
Well, I'd be more than happy to do so if you like. Yes,
I could go back. I need to get this gentleman payment for his services. Yes.
I mean, I presume you don't have to walk all the way back to the hotel, though. There'd be somewhere a little closer to that you could procure an automobile with your your smooth tongue and your charming ways.
Yes, indeed. Well, I was thinking perhaps I should get a taxi back to the hotel and pick up the payment, return here, and then we could all. In fact, I could bring Paul, perhaps.
Why don't we get Maggie and Simon back to the hotel as quickly as possible, and we'll get out of this kind gentleman's hair.
Richard, your friend has a good plan.
Yes.
The mother has blessed your friends. It is different kind of healing. They need more, much more, and they need it quickly.
Yes, perhaps. I've just looked at the clock. Yes, that's probably a good idea. Yes, perhaps it would not do to delay. I'll fetch a taxi. I'm sure I can find something.
Yes, indeed. Or perhaps there's a neighbour not too far away who has an automobile you could hire.
I don't have an awful lot of money on me at the minute, but I need to go back to the hotel.
And I'm sure you'll think of something.
I will indeed.
Resourceful fellow like yourself.
Yes, quite.
So, Richard, you head back. You head back to town. About a third of the way through, the Borrowinds and all sorts of just environmental things that you wish you weren't going through, you do acquire a taxi, which takes you to the hotel.
Was he going back to the hotel and coming back? Oh, for goodness sake.
You go back and you acquire money, as was promised to Anton. Are you picking up anyone else at the hotel? Are you bothering Paul, or are you going straight back away with another taxi towards the grotto, this farmer's house near the grotto? It's probably not for 10 or so minutes that he does arrive back with a taxi. And you are able to, in relatively reasonable fashion, get Maggie settled into this automobile. For you, Simon, getting in moving comes with all sorts of issues. Maggie has the luxury of being unconscious. You do not. And so testing the weight on that foot is something you don't even dare do right now. But with the assistance of your compatriots, you get loaded into this taxi. And then really, for the other two of you, it's sort of it's the business of sort of saying your goodbyes to Anton.
Well, sir, once again, we're in your debt. Thank you for looking after my friends. Very much appreciated. You're a godsend, sir.
Yes, indeed. If you like, you can come back with us to the hotel, and I can give you the money, or I can arrange for somebody to drop it back here. It's entirely your choice.
I'm more than happy to return with the financial remuneration agreed.
Richard, it is not my place to go back to town right now. But remember, our bond is not complete until you do your part. If this is a trick, I will come for you.
I assure you, I will be back, or Mr. Fraser will be back with the money this evening.
I trust you. We are good friends. This night we've done great works. But realize I will come.
Yes. Don't worry. You have my assurance.
Excellent. Good.
Right. Well, thank you for the tea. It's a blend I shall remember.
It is, a blend you'll never see again. I am sure of it. But you have livened up my evening in ways I could not have understood or predicted, and reminded me of a life that I hope to return to one day.
Yes, and with the money, I'm hoping that you might procure some fine English tea as well, just a little.
It is a promise. I will do such a thing.
Another shared bond.
It is good to have. Richard, you're haunted. I see it in your eyes. I hope that you can overcome what is upon you, and be careful.
Yes. There's another promise I need to fulfill, and I'm hopeful that we may do that soon, and I may yet get back to England.
Well, I wish you all the best. Say no more about your promise to me, because I cannot bear that weight.
Indeed. Right, well, thank you.
You lot head back to the hotel, and with the assistance of the staff, utilize some helping hands to get upstairs to your rooms. They ask, of course, if you need a doctor. Paul, as soon as he's made aware that Maggie and Simon are harmed or were harmed, he whips into action. Simon, he gives you and Maggie probably a proper cleaning, just with a washcloth and says, I don't know what this stuff is, but you got to get it off your body. It's a bunch of gunk. And for your part, Richard, heading back and paying Anton is a small price to pay for the friends that you've managed to save this night.
Yes. I think we're down to about £9,000 in cash now, which is...
No, that's going great. You could save a few investigators each week. I'll have to keep that in mind. But before we leave, two things that we need to do. One, I would like all of our player characters to make a POW roll. Anton, this doesn't apply to you because you're luckily just a guest in this regard. This POW roll is pretty important.
That's a 12, which, as Richard's got 80 POW, is an extreme success.
Good.
That is a 79 over 65, a fail.
Very good, sir. And
And I have rolled an 89 over 55. That is the second power roll I've failed in this hotel in as many days.
Yep, it sure is.
Oh boy. At least it wasn't a fumble this time.
That's true. It was not a fumble. So that is super helpful. So we have 2 failures here. Simon, you are going to lose 4 POW this evening. Mr. Fraser is going to lose 6. Here's how this works. Simon loses 4 magic points when he sleeps. So basically, you lose them because you were topped off, so you didn't have to worry about gaining any. So when you sleep that night, those are 4 you don't get back. Normally you would, because obviously after every hour of rest, you get a magic point back. And then so for you, Fraser, you would lose 6. You would have gotten back at least probably, I don't know what you were at originally.
I was at 1.
Yeah, so,
my maximum is 11.
Yeah, so you'd have been up the entire day. You hadn't spent any magic points, so you'd be at 11. And so when you go to sleep, you don't recover any and you lose 6. So now you're at 5. So you won't wake up as sort of in the depths as you were, but
another rough night's sleep.
Yep.
What dreams.
And I think the last thing we really have to do is thank our guest player, Nate. So thanks for supporting the show. Thanks for being on the show. We've had a fun couple of episodes with you. And you too, out there in Listerland, could join us on any number of adventures, whether they be half-cocked or fully formed. Stop by our Patreon page at patreon.com/theoldwayspodcast. Thank you and good night.